Former Prime Minister.
How do you do?
Great to have you with us.
Great to be with you.
Yes, and it's been a pleasure being in your class this semester, and I think all the students in the class, almost 200 students, have gotten a pretty good sense of.
You're so kind, and thank you very much. Well, I don't know. You don't know what you were going to say about a pretty good sense of what, but you've really stuck with it. If I understood you correctly, what you said earlier on, you came to every single lecture. Is that right? Well, there have been four. So
Yeah, only four, yeah.
only four. Historic, but quite long lectures. I mean, and I want to say that your professors, Joe and Casey, I mean, they've done a brilliant job in sort of priming, but I think they got value. I've done a lot of teaching. I want you to know. I think I did. The lectures go on for almost 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then I've given a class on economics, on classics, on what else? Lots of stuff on politics, world international relations.
You have an understanding of many things.
Yeah, well, sure, of course, but the message I'm trying to get over is that I have not been idle. It's been wonderful to be here at University of Miami. I mean, absolutely amazing. But
Well,
I want to stress for people who haven't. I have been working hard.
Yes. Well, we really appreciate you being here and talking about all the things that you know. You've also done so many things, journalism, so many roles in politics. And I want to start out with what role, when you reflect on your life, really connects with you? What feels like it has had the most honest impact on your life?
The political role that I've enjoyed the most, I think.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, I used to love being a foreign correspondent. It sounds. I mean, I've done lots of jobs, but I was a foreign correspondent in the days before the internet, right? In the days before the mobile phone, and so nobody could find me. My office could never get hold of me, and you had this wonderful power to write about foreign countries, other cultures, other societies, whatever, at your own pace, without fear of contradiction. Because nowadays, you file stuff and it gets instantly corrected and chewed up and denounced by everybody else online. And it was just a fantastic pleasure to be a foreign correspondent. I lived in Europe. I lived on the continent of Europe. I was in Brussels, based in Brussels. But I would drive around all the countries of Europe and try to understand the languages. And that was a beautiful, beautiful job.
And just following that up with, the new landscape of media, as you talked about, without that backlash that you can face, how do you see that changing today with social media, with so much information being put out? Do you think that you still would have felt that appreciation?
I think the media has changed very much. So I'm very glad you guys are doing it. But it's obviously become much more competitive because the barriers to entry are so low. Anybody can be a journalist now, and everybody is a journalist virtually. People they blog, they put stuff on Instagram. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody's putting their thoughts to Twitter, whatever it's called now. Everybody's putting their thoughts out there, and so that's a profound change. Do you know what I mean? It's a very different environment, and I think what people want is to trust the journalists, and so that's going to be the winning quality, which I'm sure you guys will have, is the ability to capture the trust of your readers or your viewers, and then they'll stick with you.
Okay. Prime Minister, in terms of NATO's defense budget, the United States American taxpayer fronts about 65% of
Correct.
it, despite the United States being only 3% of NATO. You once told Time magazine.
You mean in terms of 3% of the population? Or,
yes, they're 1 out of 32 nations.
Okay, yeah. I'm not so certain that that's entirely correct in terms of population, but yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yes, 1 of 32 nations.
Yes.
And you once told Time magazine that is unjustifiable.
I think that's right, and I think that it's not just, 70% of the budget. It's 95% of the heavy lift capacity for the aircraft.
Intelligence as well.
Intelligence, the US is absolutely dominant. NATO is, after all, a club that relies on a nuclear deterrent. And the United States provides, depending on whether you think the French thing works or not, which no one's tested it, the US provides 95%, 100% of the nuclear guarantee, right? So, and people in Europe are always sort of saying, well, America should do more in Ukraine. The point I make to them is, for most of the Ukraine war, American taxpayers, and since Putin invaded, American taxpayers, it was only Trump who changed this, but for a long period, American taxpayers were paying slightly more per head to support the Ukrainians than the average European taxpayer. So I do think that that's right. I think that the Europeans need to spend more on their own defense.
Yes.
And, a lot of US presidents since Eisenhower have tried to get that to happen. And, I think Eisenhower said, it's time for Uncle Sam to stop being Uncle Sucker, right? Remember? And Trump is achieving it. And whatever you say about President Trump, the UK, the French, the Germans, everybody's increasing the percentage they're spending on defense, and quite rightly.
Well, I wanted to go to the Iran war.
Yes.
Because
I don't want to go to the Iran war at all.
Yeah.
It looks like hell to me. But
in
I wouldn't want to be under those bombs.
in more recent days, the United States has been engaged in a war with Iran.
Yeah.
And we've seen supposed NATO allies like Spain close their airspace to American military planes.
Yeah. Let's just sort of look at this thing from 30,000 feet, okay? And over this last 30 years of history, okay? I think most people would say, even President Trump would say that it's a pretty difficult situation right now, right? The Straits of Hormuz thing is a complicated problem to solve. But you've got to ask yourself, fundamentally, what do you prefer? How do you want the world to be? Do you want America out there active, doing things, trying to make the world a better place? Or do you want America turned in on itself, lacking confidence, not trying to exert authority on behalf of the world's democracies against the world's tyrannies, right? That's the choice. If you look at the period since kind of the Iraq war, since Libya, the last 10, 15 years, the US, the West generally, has been very timid, very reluctant to try to exert its authority, to try to change the things for the better. And, whether you agree with him or not, Trump, in spite of all his promises to be an anti-war president and a guy who was going to put America, leaving all that aside, he has done some pretty interesting things. So he got rid of Maduro from Venezuela. He got the hostages back from Hamas, from which I thought was a good thing, and helped to make that conflict a bit better. I mean, it's not ended yet, but it's better than it was. Assad has gone from Syria, and he's trying to get change in Iran. And Iran's a nightmare country. I mean, it's a nightmare government. They're wonderful people, but it's a nightmare government. The IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, as they're called, are a bunch of complete, tossers. And the Iranian regime is vicious towards people they don't like, women who fail to wear the right headgear, whatever. It's a horror. So, look, all I'm saying is the Iran war currently does not look like, let's put it politely, does not look like a completely brilliantly thought through military exercise. Yeah? I think it's not a very controversial thing to say. But the objective is a good one. And the objective of trying to stop Iran from having a nuclear program is a sensible one. And yeah, get back to my sort of 30,000 feet, 30-year picture. What would I rather have? America out there trying to make the world better, or America timid? I'd rather have America out there. I mean, in the period when America was not intervening, we had the autocracy starting to get it. That's when Putin decided to invade Ukraine, right?
Yes,
so it's a choice.
given that these things pop up when the U.S. is not involved, why should the U.S. contribute 65% of the budget to NATO when
Well, I
it
agree with
itself
you.
is single-handedly doing?
My dear friend,
all of these
I've already. I mean, I agree with you, and I think that the European members of NATO need to step up. And by the way, on the Iran point, what I would say is that I think that irrespective of what we're trying to do in Iran, or what the United States is trying to do in Iran, the Europeans did not have to say we would join the bombing of targets in Iran. We didn't have to do that. But what we did have to do, in my view, was come to the support, diplomatic, political, military, of the United States when it ran into trouble, which it has done. The Straits of Hormuz problem is a very bad one, and it's costing the world economy a huge amount. It's not good enough for the Europeans and Brits, Starmer, useless, hopeless, but probably going to get fired by his own people pretty soon. It was not good enough to say this is not our war, right? When Trump, you remember when Trump appealed for help from NATO countries? Yes. It was pathetic. And NATO is based on reciprocity and mutual support. And there were things that we should have done to help. And, actually, we did a lot of them, but we didn't want to talk about it. And our posture should have been much more supportive. And there's a very good reason for that politically, which is that there's a difficult negotiation now going on with the Iranians, right, to try to get this thing over, try and open the Straits of Hormuz, and to try and do a deal so that they stop enriching uranium, they stop their nuclear weapons program and so on. That's going to be very difficult because of America's negotiating position is not, in my view, as strong as it should be. But it would be stronger if the Europeans had done the right thing and did the right thing now, and show 100% that they're behind America. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So in these talks in Islamabad or wherever they are, we should be backing America.
And in class, I heard you talking about the Iran war and the importance of the United States coming out on top. But
I agree
also
with that. So was that me? Oh, yeah. So no wonder I agree with that. That's what I said. Yeah.
But also that
yeah.
continuously bombing is not the correct strategy. How do you justify?
Well, I think bombing. It depends what you're trying to do. We bombed Germany to smithereens in the the 1940s, right? The US, the UK, and others, absolute smithereens. But we then went in, and we rebuilt the country. And the Allies wrote the new German the Grundgesetz. We wrote the new constitution. We gave them their educational system. We totally transformed Germany. We were there. The United States still has large numbers of troops in Germany. And the occupation by all the Allies went on for many decades, right? Now, you can do that. So bombing, as a prelude to nation building, you can do. What I don't think you can do is just bomb, and hope that there'll be some miraculous emergence of democracy. Because we saw what happened in Iraq. It didn't work. So that's why I have my doubts about that.
And so how do you justify nonviolent acts to a population who has possibly seen historically that these means of violence may actually lead to the outcome that you're looking for?
Well, which population are you talking about? The U.S. population?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, well, I don't know what the current American population thinks about the war in Iran. My impression is that it's not massively popular, as far as I can make out. I think that everybody would back America to fix Iran militarily if we could see a clear path to success. That's all I'm saying. I can't see how the bomb strategy delivers the kind of change and improvement you want, because what you seem to be doing is solidifying the population behind the IRGC and entrenching the hardliners. And the problem is that they control the Straits of Hormuz, and that is a very easy. If you control an important seaway, and everybody depends on that seaway for their trade, then you're going to win the war. That's how Britain won the Napoleonic Wars. We controlled the Channel, we controlled Straits of Gibraltar, we controlled,
And Prime Minister Johnson.
So you've just got to think, how do you get the result you want? I think it's what the president is trying to do comes from a good place. He wants to stop Iran getting a nuclear weapon. The question is, how do we support him to achieve that?
Yes, and you've described the U.S. and U.K. relationship as an unbreakable bond in the past. However, since the years since Brexit, there hasn't even been a comprehensive free trade agreement between the countries.
There has been a free trade agreement, but it has not been. You're quite
comprehensive.
right. It's not good enough. No, it's pathetic, and we should do much better. But I disagree with President Trump about all this tariff stuff. I'm not a big believer in tariffs. I'm a free trade guy. And you have crazy restrictions in America. The only place in America that will accept British cauliflowers. You know what I mean by cauliflower?
Yes,
Cauliflowers.
yes, we have cauliflower.
Yeah, cauliflowers. Okay, well, you don't have enough because we have lots of wonderful cauliflowers in the UK, and the only port where you can unload British cauliflowers in the whole of the United States is Miami. Why is that? Why do British cauliflowers have to come to Miami? It's pure protectionism. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane.
All right, and with that,
And I bet you have far more dangerous things being unloaded in Miami than British cauliflowers, frankly. If my understanding of traffic into Miami is correct, it's absolutely absurd. And you have crazy British shower. You know what a shower tray is, right?
Yeah.
You cannot. British shower trays cannot be marketed in the United States without each of them getting some certificate that they're not you're not going to fall over and brain yourself in the shower if you stand on this thing. And it's totally ridiculous. It's pure protectionism. Our shower trays are no more slippery than your shower trays, right?
Prime Minister Johnson.
And we need a free. You would benefit from a free trade deal, and I fly around the States a lot now. I love it. It's a wonderful. America's got a great future. Miami's got a great future, but British Airways should be able to pick up and set down within the United States. We should have cabotage. We should have fifth freedoms for aviation, and same for U.S. airlines in Europe, in Britain. I mean, it's ridiculous.
There's a lot of airline news today, but Prime Minister Johnson, I'm pretty sure.
What's the airline news today?
U.S. bailed out Spirit Airlines.
Oh right, I missed that.
Our budget
Okay,
airline.
I missed that.
So,
Are you bringing
thank
this interview to a close?
Yes. This interview, unfortunately, has come to an end.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you
Mr.
very
Prime
much. Thank
Minister.
you.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to
Appreciate
see you.
it.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you. Good.
Next.
Okay.